Any doubts regarding this? So okay, so today we will discuss about behavioral diagrams. So what behavioral diagram is and how you are going to represent behavioral diagrams. So from the definition you can see that it is going to make you understand the behavior and the factors that influence the behavior of a system. Okay, so how you are going to represent it? So using what diagrams you are going to. So we are using diagrams like use case and sequence for representing the behavioral diagrams. So what are the techniques, what are the modeling techniques that you are going to follow for designing a behavioral model? Just go through these steps. We will clearly understand about the different diagrams which are involved in behavioral modeling techniques and the symbols which are used for it. So from the steps that are displayed on the screen, you can clearly understand how you are representing the events that are there in behavioral model. Okay. First of all, we are going to evaluate all the use cases which are used to understand the sequence of interaction within the system. Okay. So for this, you need to know uh, the sequence of how the transactions are going on in your system. Okay, we are having some examples like library management system and hospital administration. You will see that in diagram in coming slides so that you can clearly understand what are the sequence of transactions that are happening. Okay, so once you are identifying the sequence of interactions, then you are going to draw the sequence like how how the things are related with each transactions. Okay, so after that you are going to draw a diagram sequence of each use cases and you are going to build a state diagram for that particular system. Okay, so the main objective of this particular model is to know the behavioral things or else different events that are happening in your system. Okay, so already you might have learned this in your OOAD, like what are the different symbols that are used for your sequence diagrams, right? In sequence diagrams, we will be using an actor, okay, and there is an object with this symbol and the lifeline is denoted with dotted line, and whenever a transaction is happening, whenever there is an interaction between the objects, you will be representing using an block like a rectangle block until the starting and ending of that particular transaction, and this is also called as an lifeline. See, execution of occurrence, or it is represented for a lifeline of the transaction. Like means, so if a dotted line is there, if I am drawing a box from second to fifth line, that means that my transaction is happening from transaction initiated from second line and ended at fifth line. Okay, and these are the symbols which are used, whenever you are sending a data from one object to the other object, you will be using a strong line, okay, or else a bold line. And whenever the other side is sending a message to its receiver, then it is going to represent using a dotted line. Okay, so these are the main three symbols which are used for the sequence diagram: dotted line, occurrence, and the message transfer, right? So now let us see. And of course, this is the sequence diagram, which is drawn into a communication model, wherein which you will not be drawing the dotted line and occurrence. You will be just drawing the object and an actor, and giving a relation, and you are going to give an association between them, right? So this is one of the example for the sequence diagram. So here you can clearly see the dotted lines, the objects, and the occurrence. Okay, so you can draw this line as a dotted line too. Okay, because it is sent from the one object to the other object. Okay, so see here we have taken an example called library. So in a library management system, we will be having an objects like a member, a library, and books. Okay, so these are the three major objects that are required for a library management system. But here you can see there are six objects like member, librarian, library clerk, library catalog, books, and library. Okay, so in short, if you want to write, you can write three which are required basically, that is member, book, and library. Okay, so what librarian does? A librarian is an owner, who is the person to issue the membership, issue the books, and maintain the library, right? So here we are going to see the transactions that are happening, or else the behaviors or the relationships that we are having with one object. Okay, so the main objective of the sequence diagram is to understand the behavior of the classes that are present, or else the behavior of the different objects that are present. Okay, so here what member is doing is requesting membership to a librarian. So here you can clearly see that where the transaction began, there you are drawing the block, and that block will be done till the end of that particular transaction. So requesting the membership is done, and the librarian is providing the membership to a member who asked it, and the member is submitting the form. So here once the registration is done, then the user can access the books that are there in the library. Okay, so this is how that the life cycle of, or else the relationships or the behavior of that particular member with the library. So once the membership is done, you are asking for the book. Okay, so inquiry for a book. So once you are going for a book, the library clerk is the in charge for issuing the books and receiving the books. Okay, so you are asking about some book, and that book will be searched in the catalog. So once the book is available, he will give a result that book is available. Okay, so if the book is available, you will be asking that particular book, and that book will be issued to you, and the catalog will be updated, that if you are having one book only, and if that book is issued to a member, that catalog is updated to 0, such that if any other person comes, it will return the value as 0, and the member will be searching for some other book. So this is the process of how how a book is being searched for a in a library. Okay, I hope everybody of you can understand how to draw a sequence of diagram. So this particular diagram is used to represent the behavior of a system. Okay, so next diagram, the same diagram we are representing using use case model. Okay, so in use case model, you'll be having actors. Okay, and you are having the actions that are being performed by the actors. Okay, so whatever things you have seen, like adding membership, deleting membership, requesting membership, book availability, you adding a book, deleting book, checking the availability, inquiring the book, issuing the book, all these things, whatever behaviors, whatever the different transactions that are available in the system are mentioned in this particular model. Okay, so in our previous sequence diagram, we have seen like librarian, member, and library clerk. Here we have defined different roles for member, librarian, and library clerk. Librarian, we have fixed our role that he is the person who is going to give the memberships for the new members. Okay, so he is completely authorized to issue the memberships. Okay, so the librarian is having a relation with the membership, like adding the membership, deleting the membership. Okay, so the new member, what he is going to do, first of all, if he needs to access, if he wants to access the library, he needs to create a membership. Once the membership is created, he will ask what type of book he want, and automatically the other steps or other procedures. Once the book is been asked, inquired, the library clerk will come into play. Library clerk will search in the catalog and check whether it is available or not. If it is available, he will issue the book. If it is not available, he will tell the that it is not available, so that this member will inquire for a new book. Okay, so this is the life cycle or the behavioral representation of a library management system. I think all of you are clear with these two diagrams. So the core concept is same. So we have given the role for librarian, we have given the role for member, we have given the role for clerk, but the representation of the system is different. Okay, so whatever I have explained you in use case, the same I have explained you in sequence also. But here you can see a sequence of steps. Why we call it as a sequence diagram is we can see it in a hierarchical manner. This is the first step, this is step, and second step, third step, fourth step. So in a sequence diagram, you can clearly read in a step-by-step manner. So these are the 3 steps, okay, 4th step, 5th step, these are the things what have happened. So here these diagrams, if I in the previous slide we have mentioned what is the use of having these modeling techniques. So okay, these modeling techniques will help the users or analyst to understand the functionality of the system, like how they are communicating with the different objects or the customers. Okay, so the main objective is that whenever you see a diagram like this, you can clearly understand, okay, the system is going to perform this functionality. Okay, so this is the output of the system. That is what you are going to get from the modeling techniques. Okay, am I clear? Am I clear with this? Any doubts? You can ask me. Yes or no? Okay, clear. So now we will go in detail about some other textbook, Wiley. I have already shared this to you. So in that what they have given, we will see. We will see the hospital management system also, sequence diagrams in this. Right. So we discussed that behavior models are going to describe the behavior of the system, internal behavior of the system. So behavioral model types, what we are doing, we are using interaction diagrams like sequence diagrams and use case diagrams, right? So the interaction diagrams, what they are going to do, they are going to tell you how they are going to interact with different objects that are present in the system. Okay. How the objects are interacting with the system, okay, that are defined into the different use cases. Okay, so we have seen what is object, attribute, operation, messages, okay, and types of diagram sequence and all. Messages with a strong line and a dotted line. Okay, so let us see one yeah, this is one sequence diagram. So this is one sequence diagram for an hospital administration, right? So this is a simple concept like taking an appointment in an hospital. So a patient and receptionist, okay, and appointment. Okay, so what they are doing, a patient is requesting the receptionist to take an appointment. Okay, so the patient is giving details. Just go through the steps. You can clearly understand and write as per the diagram. Okay, so I'm clear. I am just stating what are the different sequences that are there. Patient is requesting. Patient is requesting. Patient is giving his details to the receptionist. Okay, that is his name and address. The receptionist looking up the database that is present. Okay, so if the database, I mean, whatever the data details that are coming from the patient, if it exists, she will check whether there are any pending bills or not. Okay, if there are any pending bills, she will tell the same to the patient. If the patient clears the bills, then automatically the appointment will be given. Okay, if the patient detail is not there, okay, if the patient detail is not there, then the patient details are created into the database and automatically the appointment is given. Okay, so this is the sequence of steps that are going to happen into this particular system. Okay, so you can clearly see and write and discuss about any type of sequence diagram that is given for you. Generally in exams, they don't ask you to explain by showing a picture, by giving you a sequence diagram, but in turn they will ask you to draw a diagram and explain it. Okay, so they will clearly ask you explain about behavioral modeling techniques or explain about sequence diagrams which are used to create a behavioral model. Okay, they will ask you question like that, so that you need to write what are the different things that are required and how you are going to represent it. Okay, so in short, if you want to see, so this is a communication model where in which you will be giving the same sequence diagram what we have seen. The same sequence diagram you are drawing in a communication model. Patient, receptionist. Okay, the patient is going to tell his details. The receptionist is going to look up the patient. If the patient is exists, she will check for bills. If any bills are there, she will tell, or else if no bills are there, she will give an appointment time so that the patient will come for that particular appointment. Okay, I think I'm making some sense to you. So any doubts in this, you can clearly ask me. So that's it. So okay, so next I want to give you a final review of this. So class diagrams, you know what a class diagram is divided into. We have already discussed this. And when it comes to a library management system for a class diagram, so whatever we have seen like user, library, okay, librarian, and library clerk. We have defined roles for this, like issuing membership and issuing book. So these are done by these two people, right? So whenever you are drawing a class diagram, you are going to mention the three different parts that are required for a class diagram. Okay. And when the same thing comes for an object diagram, you will be just writing its name, right? Library clerk, librarian, and member. Okay. So I hope you might have all you have understood this model that we have seen, like module 3, and the different modeling techniques that are there. So by seeing these topics, you can clearly state like which model is used for, I mean, which diagram is used for a particular model. Okay, a question like an essay question can be asked like explain modeling techniques in software engineering. If that is asked, it is generic question. Okay, so in generic means in generic or specialized question, you need to write these 3 points, and after that you need to specify in detail about the different diagrams that are used in this particular models. Okay, so context models, what you are going to write for context models? Anyone of you can tell? Context models, which diagram you are going to explain? Okay, only one person is responding, M7. I don't know what others are doing. Around 47 people are present today. Nobody is responding through chat or voice. Okay, be responsive, not attentive. Be responsive so that I also will have some understanding whether you are listening to my classes or understanding my class. Yeah, okay. So in behavioral models, if a question is asked in behavioral models, what sort of diagrams you are going to draw and explain? In behavioral models, just now, today's class, behavioral models. Yeah, again, the same person. What about others? Yeah, L8 and M7 is only responding. Okay, you can explain both the behavioral modeling techniques like use case and sequence. Okay. Next, data models. What sort of diagrams you are going to explain in data models? Data models. Yes. So you are going to write about what an entity is, what an attribute is, what a relationship is, and you are going to simply explain about the interaction between those models, right? And object models. Object models, which what type of diagrams you are going to explain? Okay, class and object diagrams. In structured methods, you are going to write about. In structured methods, you are going to explain about DFDs. Yes, data flow diagrams. Okay. So in short, if you are going to see this screen, all of you should remember this. Take a screenshot or else by heart this particular slide. Okay. So first slide, what is modeling? What are the representations like UML diagrams we are using, and what for the system modeling is. This is the default 3 statements that you are going to write for any question that is given in module 3 unit 1. Okay. And once you come into the next part, you are going to explain about its diagrams. Like if a specialized question is asked like context model, then you are going to write about activity diagram, behavioral model, sequence and use case, data model, ER diagram, object models, class and object diagrams. Okay, structured methods, data flow diagrams, because you cannot write all these diagrams if they ask generally like explain modeling techniques also, you need to write these subheadings, and you can explain any 2 of these, because if you are going to draw these all 5 models, it takes at least 2 hours to write a question. Okay, so it's not possible because you can only answer for 30 minutes or maximum 45 minutes for a question, for an essay question. Okay, so plan accordingly and prepare as per it. Okay, so with this we have covered all the syllabus that is there for unit mid one. And anything that is required from my side, you let me know.
Sir, assignments.
Yeah, assignment questions is not, sir, explain mid questions for me. Yeah, tomorrow I'm having class. I will already have shared that questions with you. Assignment I will give you. Assignment questions is not yet given to me. I will give you once it is there, right? Already I have shared these files, objective and subjective. Just go through them. Tomorrow I'll discuss it.
Okay, sir. Sir, assignment questions once. Can you put it in the portal or will you send it in the group, sir?
Yeah, I'll send it. No problem.
Okay, sir. Sir, 5L7 present, sir.